I am Vinnie Tortorich. Folks, your good intentions have been stolen, but don't worry. I'm here to help you get them back. You may be soft and succulent at the beginning of this process, but hang in there. Before long, you will be lean and mean, just like Miss Gina Grad. See, you didn't get the cheers that time.
Thank you. You gotta keep me humble. It's very important. We're starting this on a bad note because I'm about to take us through the basement floor when
Oh,
we thought we had hit bottom. I don't think I'm overselling this. I talked about this on the last show. I almost I while I'm finding stories, something will just kind of hit me and I'll throw it in like the Vinnie pile. And I was like, no, I don't want to revisit this. And I thought, well, I'm not really doing my duty to Vinnie if I don't share it, but I don't really want to talk about it. So, you know what? Content always wins out. Um, this was in New York Post, and they always do first person. I lost 60 pounds by blah blah blah, and I always clickbait. Oh, this
yeah.
was not clickbait. This is, to me, maybe you think it's great. This was so stomach churningly vile that it's hard for me. It just gives me the creeps. It's hard for me to talk about, but I'm gonna do it.
Okay.
This woman, Brooke Nelson, was over 200 pounds, and she underwent they call it a novel minimally invasive weight loss procedure, no biggie, called endoscopic ablation as part of a clinical trial. And I don't know if you know what that is, so let me explain what they did to her.
Go on.
During the orientation or the operation, doctors inserted a camera into her stomach and used a small device to burn the lining that produces ghrelin, the hunger hormone. Within 6 months after surgery, 6 months after something that sounds like I wouldn't do this for all the money in the world, she lost, we're supposed to celebrate this, she lost almost 20 pounds in 6 months, Vinnie.
And how much
And
did you weigh to begin with, Gina?
200.
Okay.
And experienced a drastic decrease in constant food cravings. Again, they went into her stomach with a camera and burned the part of the lining where ghrelin is secreted. The clinical trial, the first to test this endoscopic ablation targeting ghrelin in humans, showed patients reduced their weight by 7% on average, though the procedure carries big risks like ulcers, bleeding, stomach injury. Despite mild effects like cramping, gas, nausea, the woman, Nelson, found herself craving healthier foods and greens instead of sweets because they went into her stomach with a camera and burned the part of her lining where ghrelin is secreted. Something
Okay.
about that makes me so nauseous. It's hard to talk about.
Well, look, I get it. People are desperate. I get it. I get people. Look, Gina, if you can't handle this, as I tell every girl from the Midwest, just put a little ranch on it. You'll be okay. Uh,
It's one of my other favorite jokes. Dip it in ranch.
Dip it in ranch.
Yeah. Go
Uh,
ahead. There's just I don't know, I think I just have a thing about, I don't know, the burning in the stomach. It really freaks me out. But go ahead. Have you ever heard of a study like this or a trial like this before?
no, look, they've been doing ablations in the heart for a long time, and the reason they do that, if people have chronic AFib, what happens is they'll go and figure out which nerves are fluttering and causing the
Okay.
heart to go off, and they'll just go in and do an ablation, and it'll fix it in some
Great.
cases. Sometimes they have to go in 2 or 3 times. They'll burn a bunch of nerves and
Oh,
keep missing all of them. Like some people will have several, and once they get them, then you're good to go.
mhm.
Um, so there's that. But when you start going in, we've been trying to control ghrelin for decades. There are drugs that works. It works on dogs. Like every study, there's a drug that's been out there. The patent gets sold from one drug company to the other for gazillions of dollars. The same patent on this ghrelin drug, but it's never been replicated in humans. It only works in the animal studies,
Interesting.
right? So they've known for a long time if you can control ghrelin and leptin, you can control hunger pangs. But is that a good thing? right? Well,
What
look,
and one makes you feel hungry and one makes you feel full.
right. Ghrelin is the hormone that makes your stomach feel cavernous and, oh my God, I need to eat right now. I have, your stomach
Right.
growls. Think
That's right.
ghrelin, growl.
Exactly.
You get
Yeah.
that guy say, oh, my stomach is so empty, it's growling, right?
Yeah.
And so ghrelin is what causes that. It gets released. It tells your stomach it's time to eat again, right?
Right.
And I'm going to explain a few things about ghrelin in a simple way that people might understand it.
Okay.
Leptin is the hormone that makes you feel full,
Right.
right? So remember we talk about fen from time to time.
Yep.
The fen part was a phenol something something a speed that sped you up, and the other part was something called pondamin. That it was a chemical that made your leptin. You were able to feel full,
It did
right?
control your leptin.
Yeah,
Wow.
but not your ghrelin,
Okay.
right? So you would still get the hunger pangs, but you would feel full. So it was actually the Pondamin part helped in some way, shape, or form. Folks, I know nothing about how chemistry works in the
Mhm.
body. I'm giving you kind of an overview of what happens.
Yeah. Just the headline.
So you hear me talking a lot about being metabolically broken.
Right.
People are metabolically broken. Okay, then what do you mean? Well, metabolically broken means a lot of things. And this is coming from all of the experts I've had on the Friday show. Metabolically broken means that you're gaining weight uncontrollably. It means that your A1Cs are now in such a way that you have type 2 diabetes. Metabolically broken means that your liver, you're starting in with fatty liver disease and also, you have sleep apnea and all these different things. But it also means that your ghrelin and leptin are switched in the wrong position. Now, let me explain that in layman's terms. Let's say you're basically a teetotaler, right?
No alcohol.
No alcohol, and I gave you one beer,
Okay.
one normal beer with normal amounts of alcohol, because I know they make these IPAs now with like a lot of alcohol.
No, we're a regular beer.
A regular beer.
And I'm not really a drinker. So let's say you made me shotgun a beer, which would really do me in.
No, you could just sit there and drink it. You don't
Oh,
have to
great.
shotgun it.
Thank
You're
you.
not in college, Gina.
I keep forgetting. I have to do it upside down in a keg.
No, you can enjoy it.
Okay.
No one's going to yell "go go go go" until it's all
Chug,
down.
chug. Okay.
Yeah, there's no funnel.
Okay.
So you enjoy a beer, but if you're a teetotaler, you'll get to the end of that beer and go, "Oh, I feel high. I feel a little
Buzz.
drunk,"
Yeah.
right? Because you're not used to drinking beer.
Right.
But let's say you're like our good friend Adam Carolla,
Mm,
who enjoys a cocktail every day.
sure.
Right? He's not an alcoholic. He's a man that enjoys a cocktail every
Yeah.
day. So one cocktail won't get him there.
No.
Matter of fact, two cocktails won't get him there. And since we're talking about beers, he might have to have 5 or 6 beers to feel
Get
the way
the
you
effect.
feel
Yeah.
with the one,
Right.
right? Because he's now become resistant to the alcohol. It takes a lot more for him to feel what you feel on one,
Right.
right? Okay. If you keep pushing your ghrelin and leptin, and the thing that causes you to release a lot of ghrelin and leptin is the same thing that causes you to release a lot of insulin. It's carbohydrates, right? The example I like to use, I think the Jewish folk came up with this.
Oh, do tell. I'll tell you if you're right.
Yeah, this is one of those Jewish jokes. It's not a
Okay.
Catskill joke that you and I would tell.
Well, then I'm not interested.
The Jews would always go, you know, what do you need 30 minutes after you have a Chinese meal?
More Chinese.
Right. Because you feel empty. You feel
Right.
hungry again.
Yes.
The other Jewish joke was, what do Jews make for lunch?
Dinner plans.
Dinner reservations. Yeah.
And that, by the way, that's just a statement of fact.
Yeah.
While we're eating, we got to figure out what we're going to eat.
Yeah. Folks, I'm not being anti Semitic. I'm talking to a Jewish woman, and we
And I'm
both know the truth.
and I'm agreeing with you.
Yeah. So I learned this when I was dating a Jewish woman.
It's true. We do.
So why is that? While they're eating 30 minutes after you eat a Chinese meal, which is basically rice and sugar here in
Mm.
the States.
Here, yeah, absolutely.
You go to China, I think they're doing a lot better with their eating.
Absolutely.
So you eat this crap from a Chinese restaurant, 30 minutes later, you're hungry. But here's the deal. It takes over 3 hours for your stomach to actually get rid of all of that food.
Okay,
3
so
hours.
let's explain this like we're 5. So we're hungry again because the ghrelin has been activated, but there's not any extra room in our stomach. We're just being tricked.
Your brain thinks you're starving again.
But our stomach's
Ghrelin
still
is sending
the amount of food in the stomach is still in there.
the food is still in the stomach, is not all transferred over to the liver yet. Like it takes a long time. That food, what happens is in the stomach, we release these acids. These are very strong acids, and it liquefies the food and it helps it break down. It will start to send this food
Right.
to the small intestine. It'll send it to any of the fibrous stuff goes into the large intestine, so you can, make materials.
Sure.
You can
Get it
flush it
out.
out. But all of the extra nutrients, the micro and macronutrients, all end up going to the liver or is being pushed into the blood by the small intestine, right? But you still have 2.5 hours of this happening. You still have a ton of food in your stomach, but because ghrelin was released to handle all of this extra carbohydrate, it sends the message back to your brain, I'm hungry again.
Oh, boy.
See, if you eat fat and protein, that doesn't happen. I'll
Yeah.
give you an example. I've seen this happen where I've had guys come over to watch football. No one comes over to watch football anymore, but back in the day, me and a few guys would get together and I would buy the stuff they would eat. I
Yeah.
would go to the store and go down. Oh, I know they like these chips and they love these dips and the 7-layer dip. Let me get all this for my guest.
Yeah. You're like, what's her name? Studying the chimps, being like, what do these people eat that I know I
Yeah,
don't eat?
me and Jane Goodall.
Thank you.
I'm like Jane Goodall in the grocery store.
That's right.
And I would buy this stuff and I would watch these guys. And I watched it in movies too. People would buy
Mhm.
the popcorn. And at first they're being very demure,
Oh, yeah, it's just a
one little piece at a time.
yeah.
And then you grab into 2 or 3 because you do the
Mhm.
3-finger pull
Yep,
off the
yep.
popcorn. Before long, you got the fist in there and
Oh,
you're shoving it in your face,
you're dumping the bowl upside down and
and
pouring
you
it
got
on
the bowl upside down. And what do they tell you about if you get the big giant bowl? What do most theaters tell you, Gina?
you. Ooh, what?
You buy the big giant bowl, the
Yeah.
big thing, you get to go back and get a refill for free.
You do? Yeah, I
Yeah.
haven't done that in a long time, so I couldn't tell you.
I'm just telling you what happened. So whether you're at home hosting a football game and you're giving the guys, at first they're having a chip and they're kind
Right.
of moving it into the 7-layer dip. Before long,
Oh,
they're just cramming it in and now they're drinking beer. And
mhm.
what they will tell you is the beer gave them the inhibition and that's what caused them to start eating crazily.
Interesting.
But the truth of the matter is, and they're always going, Vinny, you're so good. It's like, no, I'm only good because I haven't had one.
Right. You
If
didn't
I had
start.
one, I'm just like you.
Right.
I'm going to be licking the inside of the Dorito bag,
Right.
right? And wondering, hey, is there some Haagen-Dazs in the fridge,
Yep.
right? So let's say you ate a whole bag of chips, and,
'Kay.
right? And now you're watching the second game because it's Sunday. You got
Right.
Sunday ticket.
More than
Now
one.
the second game. Now you're looking for something else. Okay. Most of those family sized bags have 17 ounces of corn chips in them. I know because I've checked. You can now empty another bag had you had another bag. Are you going to the kitchen to find ice cream?
Yeah.
Are you getting another beer? You're continuing the carbs coming in.
You're not full. You don't feel full.
You can't stop.
No.
Okay. Let's say you and I went out to Ruth Chris.
Okay. Now we're
And
talking.
you got yourself the big filet, the 12 ouncer.
Can I have a ribeye?
You want a ribeye?
Yeah.
How many ounces do you get when you go there?
I mean, what I get versus what I take home. Let's get a 12.
You got yourself a nice ribeye. Bone
Yeah.
in. You like the bone in, Gina?
I don't need it because I wanna make sure I'm getting the I don't wanna eat I'm not gonna eat the bone. Let's do boneless you know what? Let's do boneless 14 ounce.
Boom.
Let's
Okay.
see how much of that I can polish off.
Do you finish or do you take some home?
I take it home even though I would love
Okay.
to finish, I can't do it.
Let's say you finished it. Let's
Okay.
say, you were really hungry.
Oh,
You were hiking up in Angeles Crest.
sure. I was
You
waiting
came
for this all day.
Yeah, all day. Andy takes you there.
Sure.
Boom. You eat the whole thing. And when you took your last bite,
Oh,
they bring you another sizzling ribeye.
oh god, please don't.
You can't, right? You're full. You're
I'm
stuffed.
done. White flag is waved.
Yeah, I'm done.
Please.
Throw it in a doggy bag. It's coming
Yeah.
home,
Yeah.
right? Okay. That's 14 ounces of red meat.
Yeah.
You can polish off 17 ounces of corn chips. If I'm doing the math, that's 3 extra ounces,
Yeah.
and you're ready to eat more.
And still exactly. Still
Why?
ravenous.
Because your ghrelin is telling you I'm still hungry, and your leptin is telling you I can't get full.
Oh my god.
You see, when it gets released in the normal way with a normal amount of leptin, ghrelin, and insulin, the way your body's supposed to release it, everything is cool.
Yeah. It's regulated.
That's why so many people do this carnivore diet, because they go, you know what? I'm a food addict, but I know if I just eat meat and eggs and fish and what else, make shrimp and this kind of stuff,
Yeah.
they've learned that, oh my God, I can have these foods and not have to worry about anything else. I get why people do carnivore diet, and it's fairly healthy for it. It's very healthy. No
Right.
one's ever gotten sick on a carnivore diet. They've only gotten stronger. And some people go off of all kinds of Michaela Peterson, for instance. They will go off of all these medications because they thought they were sick,
Oh wow.
right? So you talk to anyone who's carnivore, and that's what they will tell you. I can live on this diet because I don't eat like a raccoon that just got high on pot.
Yeah, trash cat. And that's so interesting. And again, on this show, it's you're saying things that you're like, once I hear Vinny say it, I'm like, "Oh, yeah, obviously." But if it was so obvious, why didn't I already pick it up? So we need to hear you say it. And it's so true. You're what that Thank you for the long form explanation of what it means to be metabolically broken. Because there are so many terms that people throw around and aren't totally sure what they're saying. This was such a detailed explanation of what that means. When your leptin and ghrelin and insulin are so famished, as the Italians say, that it doesn't work anymore to listen to your body because your body's giving you the wrong signals.
Yeah.
So to get everything back on track, you fuel it with the right stuff, and then you can trust the signals you're getting from your body and your brain.
I couldn't say it any better,
Oh,
Gina.
thank you very much. And you're
Um,
so right. I mean, you've been using that example forever because it works. You could polish off, a giant supersized family econo size of Doritos, and you're turning the bag inside out, licking the dust off of it. But you have yourself a really nice, beautiful, cut of steak, maybe a little butter basted, and you are done for the night, my friend.
yeah.
And it's so true. And now that I'm back eating red meat, which I didn't for well over 2 decades, almost 3 decades. Boy, am I back on it. I absolutely get it now. I get it. It makes perfect sense. And, we talked in the last show about, your body's not a trash can. And that's what I tell my son. And it's a great reminder. It's like you go to a nice restaurant. I mean, talk about putting life into living. You go to a nice restaurant. If you're anything like me and my husband, you're like, I mean, I love the steak, but it's a little pricier. If we just went to some, fast food, we'd really be full on, $12. But talk about putting life into living. You're worth an extra $25 to have a nice cut of meat and a nice meal and to feel satiated and not to feel guilty and to feel really good about, wow, I had a really beautiful filet. I didn't fill up on Pizza Hut, like we would have done or whatever, especially like a game day. So what you're saying makes so much more sense. And people say, oh, but for short term, short term is gone in the snap of a finger. It's
Yeah.
gone.
Yeah.
Long term is the reason why Vinnie didn't have to endure chemo for over 3 times the amount that the doctors gave him.
Yeah.
3 times. They said, we'll see you in 5 years. And he said, maybe I'll check in 17. Thank you.
All my beer.
Exactly.
And by the way, Gina, I've always, I think you told me this before. I remember when you got back onto meat. I think I told you, I said, start with a hamburger. It's
Mm,
pretty innocuous.
yeah.
And why did you go off of meat for so long?
I don't have a good explanation. I was young. It was Earth Day. I was a teenager. I thought, "Oh, this is what I'm supposed to do." I don't know. And I'm from Kansas. I figure I already punched my burger card, as you would
Yeah,
say. I don't know. I don't know, but it had been
I have
so
no
many.
idea.
I have no idea. It had been so many years that steak and red meat just stopped looking like food to me. I was like, I just wouldn't eat it. It didn't register as food to me. And boy, howdy, now that I'm back, I am making up for some lost years.
Yeah, look, it's like our lungs, I always say, can still handle liquid oxygen, for deep, deep, deep sea diving. I mean,
Right,
that, we were like that in the womb and we still do it. I
right.
remember you thinking, oh, I got to go back into this slowly. I don't know how my body's going to react.
Yep.
I said, Gina, you just go eat a piece of meat and your body will say, where in the F have you been?
Do you know how many people told me I'd end up in the hospital if I ate a steak after not eating it for 25 years?
Yeah. But
And
did
guess
you
what?
end up in the hospital or did you
No.
just instantly feel great?
Okay, I was told my entire life I was anemic. I was told my entire life I was sick, and I was like, unrelated." I remember the first question I asked you was, "Vinny, how many ribeyes is too many?" Because we're cooking them damn near every night, and you said to me, I'll never forget, "When I get there, I'll let you know."
Yeah. And by the way, folks, we're not rich people.
Oh,
And
no.
Gina is over there raising a kid. So that and you go, oh, people eating meat all the time can't afford that.
No.
We eat meat on a budget like you wouldn't believe, and we get good quality, good cuts of meat. We have 4 places that we go, and we know where the deals are going to be
Right.
on each. All you have to do is start to figure it out. Play little games. We know when Harris Teeter is going to have a special. We know when there's a meat mark, a
Mm,
butcher. We know
right.
when they have a special. Believe it or not, Whole Foods basically gives it away sometimes. We got some dry aged the other night from Whole Foods that was on sale. It was sale dry aged.
Oh,
Like, or it. I was like, I said to Serena, "Where did this come from?" She goes, "It was dry aged." I went, "Yeah, I can tell."
oh boy.
She goes, Whole Foods. I went, "Well, there goes my vacation next year." And she was like, "No." She goes, "They were practically giving." She told me the price. Sometimes we will do a porterhouse
Oh,
that's
yeah.
2 inches thick. Now, look, folks, you don't go cook this on day one. You gotta know how to cook meat to get a porterhouse that's 2 inches thick. But it'll be a porterhouse because half of the porterhouse is a fillet,
Right.
and the other half is like a big giant T-bone.
Oof.
And we'll get that thing, and we'll get it on sale. It looks like the piece of meat, from the beginning of the Flintstones that they.
Oh, yeah, they put on the side of the car.
It's a big giant, but if you know how to cook a big giant piece of meat like that, we get that and then we cut it up and we each get, some of the filet and some of the other side. And we eat that, like sometimes we're eating that thing. It's like 12, $13 and 2 people. And we have extras to put in the breakfast eggs the next morning. And
Perfect.
then Bonzo gets the bone.
Oh, lucky
Oh,
boy.
it's like,
Christmas.
and by the way, and all of that came home 2.5 meals, meaning we both eat on it for an evening, and then I have more of it for breakfast, and my dog is eating the bone for like 12, $13.
It's incredible. And I brought this up a while ago, because and we're not always going to be perfect, and we don't always have time. And I showed this to you, and you seemed pretty on board with it. Run over to Costco. We don't have a ton of extra room, so I don't do a ton of Costco runs, but I go mostly for meat and stuff. And when it comes to their, vacuum sealed prepackaged stuff, there's lots of stuff with lots of extra flavoring or like whatever that I don't really mess with. But I showed you one time. It was grass fed tri-tip, and
Mhm.
the only ingredients were salt and pepper and garlic powder. And to have that vacuum sealed and sitting on like a soccer night, which is also a school night, where we're not going to get Happy Meals. We're
Right.
not going to get Taco Bell. I just warm it up and throw some, vegetables on some meat jewelry on the side, and we're great. We're good. The kid likes it, everybody likes it. And that it just saves us going through a fast food window going, "Oi, what are we doing? Why are we doing this?" So the vacuum sealed stuff that you can just have for one of those like really tough nights saved us 1,000 times.
Gina, you might want to Google this on your own, not right
Yeah.
now. We don't
Okay.
need such I wonder if you could take that vacuum sealed package and sous vide that. I'm not a big sous vide guy because that's cheating. I'm old
I need
school. I know how to cook.
I need to actually my sous vide's been collecting dust for a while now. I
But
should probably get that.
you're coming from, well, you can sous vide with a regular pot if you know what
Yeah.
temperature to put it on. But you're coming from baseball.
Uh-huh.
You can sous vide it and then take it out and score it on both sides.
That's a great idea you
But
have,
I
my
would
friend.
check to see because here's the problem I have with sous vide and the reason I don't do it. Plastics, Benjamin.
Yeah.
Plastics.
Yeah.
You know, and
Puppy
I
didn't
don't like
fit in
to
there.
put the plastic and it's sitting in my food and the whole thing. People go, my brother, one of my brothers figured out sous vide a while back, and he thinks he's and by the way, Mark is a great cook. You want any kind of Cajun thing,
I
he
do.
crawfish better than anyone else. He'll do an etouffee for you. He'll do hog cracklings. He'll take 90, 100 pounds. They go to the butchers and they give them all of the fat for free.
Yeah.
But the problem with hog crackling is you got to keep stirring it. It's in a big black thing outdoors,
Okay.
and they'll just sit there and like he'll have a friend come over. I got to go to work. The friend will come over and
Take over.
stirring. Yeah, they it takes all day, but you have the best cracklings ever. Think of this, folks. It's pork skins. It's pork rinds with the skin on it.
Oh boy.
So it's like soft and fatty on one side and crunchy on the other side. So good.
Sounds pretty damn good. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah, no one hates hog cracklings. Um, but he does all of that stuff really well, right? And
Wow.
I mean, he does things. He taught me a thing with oysters. We were making some meal for, I think it was Thanksgiving last year, and he gave me. He goes, Vin, you're in charge of this, and he gave me a. When you put the muffins in the muffin
A
tray,
muffin
like
tin.
there
Yeah.
were 4 or 5 muffin tins,
Yeah.
and they got like 12 in each,
Yeah.
maybe 6 of them. It was fresh Parmesan, butter, something else, and you dropped an oyster in each one. And then you just put it in the air fryer and just let it cook. It bakes the oyster and now you have like this bubbly,
Stop it.
yeah. Folks, that's not the exact recipe. There was something else in there. Oh, I must have had 10 of those by myself. It's
Oh,
in NSNG. It was nothing but oysters and cheese and butter.
and
I
probably
could
a
not stop
seasoning.
eating them. Could not stop eating them. I
That
wish I
sounds
could remember.
incredible.
That's restaurant quality right there in your kitchen, folks. You can do this kind of stuff. I get it. Oysters could be expensive where you are. In Louisiana, a dozen might cost you $2,
Oh,
$3.
yeah, they're giving them away.
Yeah. And I get it. When I was in California, a dozen oysters I bought one time. I'm with Dean Laurie and they brought the check and I said, you guys made a mistake. You added a zero here. And because we had 2 dozen oysters, I was like eating them like a rich guy. I had no idea. It's like,
Yeah,
Jesus
they're
Christ.
pricey out here.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
So
And
I think, but a good something great that you're sort of alluding to is make use of what you have. What is
yeah,
regional for you? In the Midwest, trust me, I have friends whose family's been doing this for ages. They go in on a cow with their neighbors.
Yeah.
And then the meat is sectioned up and it goes in their deep freezer. Make use of what is the thing to do in your region that is cost effective and delicious and helpful. Sometimes it's oysters, sometimes it's going in on a cow, God knows what else. You get all kinds of choices.
And by the way, we did that too. We shared a cow with a
Mhm.
neighbor.
There you
I don't
go.
know if it was once a year, twice a year, but we just, shared a cow,
Yeah.
Black Angus beef,
I had
and
never heard of that before.
yeah,
My
that's a
friends do
common
it.
thing.
Yeah.
So we did that because people would say to my mom, "How are you feeding?" Because two of us were big time athletes, and we were eating meat around the clock,
Yeah.
right? And she was like, "Oh, we just get them right out of pasture and we have them butchered. It was much cheaper, and we supplemented with deer meat. You know, I
Oh,
ate a lot of deer meat. We had deer roast and the whole thing. If you went on a hunt, even if you didn't kill a deer, whoever else would get the deer. If you were on the hunt, you would split it up a
you
bit.
would get some.
So
Yeah.
you would always get some sausage or some this or some that. If you killed the deer, you got first dibs. So I would always take the rump roast and that kind of thing. I love those deer rumps. Um, rabbit. Rabbit is kind of devoid of a lot of nutrition. It's pretty much just protein.
Yeah.
Rabbit. And I did some bird hunting and the whole thing. So there was supplement meat on top of the fact. By the way, folks, we weren't like a poor family. We weren't rich, but when you're playing football and you're working out all the time, the extra protein went a long way.
Well,
Um,
and it's part of the culture.
yeah. I was a big time. I loved hunting as a
Yeah.
kid. I still hunt, but it's more a sport now. I do eat everything I kill, except snakes.
Mm,
Um, and what was the other thing? Oh, the eggs. There
mm.
was a lady down the street. We would get the fresh eggs. Right,
Oh,
so there was always fresh eggs, and it was like a couple of dozen was like, $1. I don't know, it was
with that
crazy, but
yolk that's so yellow, it's like
oh my
orange.
god, yeah.
Delicious.
Mm.
So you make you and if that's not something, if you've been eating what most people have been eating, just processed crap or whatever, and you're part of the state, you're part of the country, take a look, go online, see like what's, go to the farmer's market, see what they got, see what's local to your region, and it could be a real game changer.
Yeah. Gina, tell everybody where they can find you.
Can do. All over Instagram, we got 3 different options depending on the Gina you prefer. You like the regular old Gina? Of course, you can just go to Gina Grad. You like the NSNG Gina? Go to Grain-Free Comfort Food, Grain-Free Comfort Food on Instagram. And of course, My Extra Family. That's my parenting and family account. I would really, really love it if you join me over there and interact with me. It's a really important account to me. And my children's book, My Extra Mom. It's a children's book about step families. And of course, it would mean a lot to me if you grabbed one of those. And I hope it means a lot to you. And of course, you get that by going to VinnieTortorich.com, clicking through his Amazon banner, and you'll get it right there.
Gina, there was a singer named Donovan that did a song called Hully Gully. What was his daughter's name?
Donovan's daughter? I have
Yeah,
no idea.
Donovan from the
Didn't
Hully
he
Gully
do
Man.
didn't he do "They Call Me Mellow Yellow"?
Yeah, that's Donovan.
He has a daughter? Let me
Oh
see.
yeah, and it's not something Laurie Wick. It's something else.
Hold on.
Something Sky. Her name is something Sky.
Is she like a famous person?
Oh yeah, she's famous.
Uh,
It's an actress.
oh, Ione Skye! From
Ione
the
Sky.
80s. Yeah,
Ione Sky.
that's
Yeah,
Donovan's daughter?
that's Donovan's daughter.
That's crazy!
I'm
From
almost
Say
positive.
Anything?
Yeah, from Say Anything. It's funny you should bring that up. But folks, Gina Grad, you know where to find her. Did
Yep,
you say all that or did
I
I?
did. I did everything.
Okay,
Wait, what
good.
are you telling me?
All right.
I said all
Donovan's daughter,
that. Ione
Ione Sky.
Skye!
Yeah. The Hully Gully Man, and they call me Mellow Yellow. He
Yeah,
had a
and first
dog.
there is a mountain. Yep,
Yeah.
wow.
Okay. How's that for weird knowledge?
That's insane.
That I knew that.
Of course you did.
How did I know that?
I
I have
don't
no idea.
know.
Ask me when my mom's birthday is.
When's your mom's
I don't
birthday?
know. But I could tell you about Ione Sky's dad.
God. This is
Okay.
crazy. I can't believe this.
Look, at some point in the show, Gina said something and it reminded me of her. And we're going to play a song here at the end. So, folks, you know what to do. Go get my movie right now. Go to VinnieTortorich.com, click through the Amazon banner, buy Dirty Keto, or just rent it, rate and review that. That's all I'm pushing right now. Oh, all right, that's all I'm pushing. I'm not going to say anything else. Just go do all of that. Go check out Gina Grad wherever she is. And if you want to fall in love with Ione Sky, what's her name? Ione Sky. All you got to do is walk outside and hold a boom box over your head and play the song on behalf of Gina Grad. My name is Vinnie Tortorich. Put life into living and do it with this.